Quick spoiler warning, I'm going to be talking about an optional super boss in Expedition 33, as well as all of the playable characters in the game. There's also a joke or two that reference some plot points, so there may be some spoilers if you pay too much attention. You have been warned. In the first long-form video on this channel, I soloed Simon with every Expeditioner without dodging or parrying, just building up my characters in a way where I could guarantee a win no matter what Simon did to me. Believe it or not, if you do a solo run of the game, you could make any of the playable characters absolutely busted in terms of violence. This is all made possible by various Pictos and Luminas that the game gives you. Because you can invest all of your colors of Lumina into one character, you can stack a lot of Luminas on top of each other, making them an absolute powerhouse. Those solo runs really made me realize how strong Luminas could be. That's why, in my next video, I beat Simon without a Lumina converter at all. For the first time, I had to learn his attack patterns and actually dodge and fight back, instead of just building a solo nuke. But now, this video aims to combine both ideas. A riskless battle without a Lumina converter. Can I make a team setup so strong that Simon won't have a chance to win? After my last video, I thought it was impossible. You just can't do enough damage. But then, something clicked, and an idea came to mind. In my Verso solo run, I had Simon stun locked by the end of the battle. And if I can somehow pull off Simon being stun locked, it doesn't matter how much damage I do. I can just win the war of attrition if I get him in the right stun loop. It's difficult because Verso needs to get his perfection meter to rank A to maintain the stun, but he'll eventually get bumped up to S as his attacks keep landing. Then I remembered this comment from my first video. For Verso, I actually discovered a weapon recently called Serum, which caps his rank to A instead of S. While that may sound terrible, it works incredibly well with the perma-stun strats since you don't need to waste a turn lowering Verso's rank from S to A. Thanks Jaffinator for that info. The Serum weapon makes this all possible. Without having to bump myself down from S rank, I'll have plenty of time to maintain the stun lock. With that in mind, I started building my team. Starting off, we have Maelle. Usually she's my damage machine. With Virtuous Stance, she can be absolutely brutal. But in this battle, she's unfortunately almost pointless. Her main job here is to die, add a little to our gradient meter, and fill up Simon's break bar. That's why we're starting off with her weapon, Battle. In defensive stance, it doubles the gradient charge to our meter. Ideally, I would want to get Maelle into defensive stance before she dies. When she does die, all three of her Pictos trigger. First, Burning Death and Charging Burn work together. She dies and burns up Simon, and when she applies Burn, she adds 20% to the gradient bar. More importantly, Breaking Death triggers. This fills up Simon's break bar and allows for the stun lock to begin. Lune is the second and final B team character. Her job is to die, but she gets to do a little something first. She has the first strike Pictos so that she's guaranteed a turn. On this turn, she's going to cast Ice Lance to slow down Simon. Ice Lance actually inflicts greater slow on Simon due to Lune's second Pictos. Can you guess the name? That's right, it's Greater Slow. This Ice Lance cast makes it so that when the A team comes out, Simon won't have more than one turn in a row, which is absolutely crucial to the stun lock. Lastly, Lune has the Death Bomb Pictos, which does a little bit of damage, but is super unnecessary. In hindsight, charging critical might have been a better Pictos here just for the chance to bring up the gradient bar even more, but it wound up not mattering in the end. Coming out first on the A team is Monoco. His job is simple: be fast, give AP out like it's candy, and have the ability to break up his sleeve. His ability to break comes from his first Pictos, Sniper. Not only does this allow Monoco to break with the first free aim shot of his turn, it also gives him a whole bunch of speed. Speaking of speed, he has Energizing Attack 1 as his second Pictos. This is literally just for the speed boost. I have no plans on doing a base attack at any point during this fight. Monoco was given all of the speed to make up for his third Pictos, Faster Than Strong. This one doesn't give any speed, but I needed it to give Monoco multiple chances to give out AP. The move that he uses to boost AP is called Portier Energy. If you watched my last video, I pronounced Portier a bunch of different ways. Portier Energy, Portier Energy, Portier Energy again. Hopefully I got it right this time. Anyway, Portier Energy gives 1 to 3 AP to all allies, and an extra AP if Monoco is wearing the Caster Mask. That's why I'm using the weapon Cromaro, which starts Monoco in Caster Mask and discounts all moves by 1 AP while in Caster Mask. He has a few other moves equipped as backups. Galt Fury to mark Simon, Hexaga Crush to apply defenseless, and Lancelier Impale to apply slow if needed. As for stats, the only ones that matter are agility and luck, both giving speed boosts. Enough of our energy support dog, let's move on to support character number 2. Sciel's main job during this fight is speed control, and she controls speed using her weapon, Lithicin. I genuinely don't believe this challenge would be possible without it. Its level 4 and 20 passives are just insanely powerful. The level 20 passive gives Sciel plus 3 AP on applying a buff or debuff once per turn. This synergizes well with her first Pictos, Energy Master, giving her an extra AP whenever one is given naturally. This is paired with Energizing Turn, which not only gives an extra AP each turn, it also gives a whole lot of speed.
Fastest ball.
What is she going to use all these AP for, you ask? Simple. The move All Set. This move gives all characters powerful, shell, and most importantly, rush. Not just rush, mind you, greater rush, which is provided by her third Pictos with a very clever name, Greater Rush. Not only does it buff everyone, it gives Sciel the extra AP she needs to cast it again next turn from her level 20 weapon passive. And it drops a Sun Charge, which triggers her level 4 weapon passive. During Sun, all enemies have greater slow. This weapon has the craziest synergy. With only these 3 Pictos, I can click All Set every turn to give Sciel enough AP to cast it again, buff the entire team with Greater Rush, and slow the enemy with Greater Slow. Which is just insane to do with a single character on a single turn with no Luminas equipped. Although she's not the main damage dealer, Sciel is definitely the MVP of this team. She has a few more moves equipped as backups. Marking Card to mark Simon for extra damage, Fortune's Fury to double Verso's attack, Intervention to pass the turn elsewhere if necessary, and Phantom Blade to break if need be. Also, I forgot to change her stats. I have her built fast and tanky when I should have dumped points into luck instead to make her super fast and not so tanky. Oh well, let's move on to the final piece of the puzzle. Oh yes, the Stunlock Master, the Endbringer, the Death by 1,000 Cuts, Verso. This is what all this setup is for. First, I start with the obvious Pictos, Painted Power. Technically, I don't need this if I set up the battle right. In fact, it would be easier to use a faster Pictos instead to make sure Verso always gets a turn before Simon. But I am not about to sit here for hours and hours and hours while I whittle away at Simon's health pool 9,999 damage at a time. Next is the Cheater Pictos to make sure that Verso goes twice in a row. Even with Monoco's help, it's difficult to build up 9 AP in a single turn. The extra turn helps with that. Finally, Verso has Augmented First Strike. This one is literally just for the speed. The minimal boost on the first free aim shot of the battle ain't gonna do much. Verso is using Serum, the weapon mentioned in the intro. The whole strategy revolves around its level 4 passive. +1 to all perfection gain, but can't reach rank S. Verso gets up to rank A fast and stays there. His main move is Endbringer, with the following description. Deals extreme single target physical damage, 6 hits. Increased damage if the target is stunned. Can reapply stun on rank A. His next move is Paradigm Shift, which costs 1 AP and gives back 1 to 3 AP after use. This is going to be paired with Endbringer to make sure Verso fills all the way up on AP. Lastly, Verso has Phantom Stars equipped. This is meant to be a backup breaking move, but I realize in hindsight that if I'm going to use it to break Simon, there's no way I'll be able to use Endbringer on the next turn. Oh well. One last thing before a quick recap. Verso's points are dumped into agility and vitality for damage and speed, but also luck for the extra little speed boost that the luck stat gives you. I could have put all the extra points into might for damage, but it turns out the luck speed boost is absolutely necessary. I made it halfway through a fight with the extra points in might, but Simon actually managed to get in 2 turns before Verso got a chance to stunlock him again. It blew my mind. I was at it for 15 minutes and then seemingly out of nowhere, this sneaky little scoundrel got an extra turn in. Crazy to think how deep the turn calculations run in this game. Anyway, let's do a quick recap of the Stunlock loop strategy before jumping into the battle. Starting off, Sciel is going to be dealing with speed control. She's going to be using All Set each turn, boosting the team's speed, slowing Simon, and setting herself up for another All Set. Next, Monoco is going to move twice, using Potier Energy each time, giving everyone enough AP to do their business. Finally, Verso is going to use Endbringer to first stun Simon, then Paradigm Shift to build back some AP. Now that the loop is all figured out, the tricky part is getting into the loop itself. And I figure there's no better way to do it than to jump into the battle and give it the old college try. Fair warning, I'll be using fast forward liberally as I go along because this battle took quite a while. Lune comes out and uses Ice Lance right away to apply Greater Slow to Simon, getting him ready for the A-team. Looking at the turn order, you'll see Simon going from 2 turns in a row to just 1, which is exactly what I need. Simon attacks at light speed, which is going to kill both characters, one of whom didn't even get a turn. Unfortunately, Maelle, much like her position in the Desandra family, is a disappointment in this battle. She did at least fill up Simon's break bar. In comes the A-team. Simon performs a long combo to kill Sciel. Getting into the stunlock loop actually has a bit of luck tied to it. If Simon hits the A-team with his light speed attack at any point, it's game over. Also, it gets quite tricky if he kills Monoco first. But neither of those happened in this attempt, so the point is moot. Monoco uses his first turn to bring Sciel back. Looking at the turn order, you'll see she gets a turn before Simon, which is very important. Without it, the team wouldn't get the all set buff and Simon wouldn't get the sun charge debuff. Monoco then used Portia energy to pass some AP around. Verso's up. Monoco couldn't just stun Simon right off the bat because Verso needs to get up to rank A. After a few shots and a base attack, he's already up to rank B. He follows up with another 2 shots to get him to rank A, then uses Paradigm Shift to get his AP back. Sciel is up and uses all set for the buffs and debuffs. Simon attacks and unfortunately kills Verso. While I was lucky that this wasn't the light speed attack, it still means Verso has to get back to rank A. Monoco starts by reviving Verso, then uses Portia energy for the AP. Sciel uses all set for the boosts, and Verso builds his perfection back with some free aim shots and paradigm shift. Then a base attack for the lulz. And Simon attacks Verso again.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
After Monoco revives Verso and uses a Portia energy, you'll notice that Verso doesn't have a turn before Simon. Game over, right? Wrong. All set from Sciel gives him the turn he needs. Monoco gives some AP to everyone again, holding off on breaking Simon so that Verso can get his perfection back up. Verso does just that and built up his AP with a couple of paradigm shifts. Simon, thankfully, doesn't kill Verso again, instead going after Monoco, the goodest of boys. Sciel revives him on her turn. However, without all set, Monoco doesn't get a turn to break Simon before Verso can stunlock him. This is where the gradient bar comes in. Verso has a level 2 gradient skill called Striker, which can break. I actually forgot about it during the setup. I was originally building the gradient bar in case we have to use Monoco's level 3 gradient, which automatically breaks the enemy. But Striker comes in clutch and breaks Simon. With that break, Verso can follow up with Endbringer, starting the stunlock loop. Let's look at the first iteration. First, Sciel uses all set for the boosts. Next, Monoco uses Portia energy twice. Finally, Verso uses Paradigm Shift to bring his AP up to 9, and then follows up with Endbringer, restarting the stun loop. Now I'm going to hit the fast forward button. We are currently 4.5 minutes into the fight. The total fight is 30 minutes. Over and over I just kept using Portia energy twice, all set, Paradigm Shift, and Endbringer. The turn order kept getting jumbled up. Sometimes Verso went before the other two, sometimes after. Sometimes Monoco got multiple turns before Simon. Theoretically, when this happened, I could have used some backup moves to make the battle quicker. I could have marked Simon, applied Defenseless, and so on. But this was my 4th or 5th try before finally getting into the stunlock setup, and I didn't want to risk it. All the while I was nervous because I still wasn't sure if I was going to get thrown a curveball and Verso wasn't going to get his turn. I thought I might have to go level him up to 99, but as you can see, it all worked out in the end. Simon is slain, no dodging, no parrying, and most importantly, no Lumina converter. This was a fun challenge. Initially I wasn't planning on doing it at all until I fought Simon again with no color of Lumina investment. I was still using Luminas, but since I was still getting my butt kicked by the new super bosses, I wanted to run through the game again and save up all of my colors of Lumina. That way, when I eventually get to the big bad super bosses, I can experiment and figure out a good build to finally beat them. I genuinely haven't done it yet. That all being said, if you made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. I've been having fun making these videos and it's cool to see people actually watching. I mean, as of writing this script, there's a combined 138 hours of watch time for all my videos. It's super cool to me that people are actually watching these and hopefully enjoying them. So especially if you've watched all of my videos so far, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's super appreciated. If you liked it, feel free to hit that like button and even subscribe. With 3 videos under my belt and a few more in mind, I may just keep making them. Regardless, thanks for watching and have a good one.